On or about the 22nd of October 2020, a summons that had been issued and signed by the Secretary of the Commission, as required by the Commissions Act of 1947, was served at Mr. Zuma's residence at Nkandla, compelling him to appear before the Commission on 16 to 20 November 2020, both dates inclusive, in order to give evidence and be questioned. The summons made it clear that the purpose of summoning Mr. Zuma was for him to give evidence on various matters being investigated by the Commission and that he be questioned on those matters. Mr. Zuma appeared before the Commission on Monday, 16 November 2020, when I had argument on his application for my recusal. On Tuesday, Mr. Zuma, through his counsel, requested me to grant him permission not to be at the Commission on Wednesday, the 18th November 2020, as he wished to attend a family funeral. I granted permission, but required that he should be back at the hearing on Thursday, the 19th November 2020. On Thursday morning, Mr. Zuma appeared before the Commission. I delivered my ruling on his application for my recusal and dismissed his application after concluding that it had no merit whatsoever. Counsel for Mr. Zuma informed the Commission that they would be challenging the ruling on review and that a complaint would be lodged against me with the Judicial Service Commission. At that stage, Mr. Zuma's counsel also informed the Commission that they were going to, including Mr. Zuma, were going to excuse themselves from the Commission. Mr. Pretorius, the head of the Commission's legal team, indicated that Mr. Zuma was not entitled to excuse himself unilaterally, as the summons that had been issued and served on him was still valid and binding, and that he required my permission to leave. I adjourned the proceedings for the tea break. During the adjournment, Mr. Zuma left the Commission and did not return after the adjournment. He did so without my permission. The summons directing Mr. Zuma to attend and remain in attendance was, at the time of his departure from the Commission, still valid and binding and had not been set aside. Section 6, subsection 1 of the Commissions Act, number 8 of 1947, which deals with attendance of a witness who has been summoned, is clear. It reads, and I quote, "Any person summoned to attend and give evidence before a commission who, without sufficient cause, fails to attend at the time and place specified in the summons, or to remain in attendance until he is excused by the chairman of the commission from further attendance, shall be guilty of an offense." I read this section again. Any person summoned to attend and give evidence before a commission who, without sufficient cause, fails to attend at the time and place specified in the summons, or to remain in attendance until he is excused by the chairman of the commission from further attendance shall be guilty of an offense. The decision by Mr. Zuma to leave the commission without obtaining permission and in the face of a valid and binding summons is a serious matter. It impacts on the integrity of the Commission, the rule of law, and public accountability. And in this regard, it is important that we all remember that the matters which this Commission is investigating and on which it seeks to question Mr. Zuma are matters that happened largely when Mr. Zuma was President of the Republic and had an obligation to account for what was happening during his presidency as the President of the Republic. The rule of law and public accountability are values that are fundamental to our constitutional order. Also, our Constitution promises all of us that we are all equal before the law. This is a principle of our Constitution that is fundamental to a society that is built upon the rule of law, and it is one that goes to the foundations of our constitutional order. Mr. Zuma could not, it would seem, have been under any confusion about the need to request my permission on Tuesday, because on Tuesday, through his counsel, he did request my permission in order not to be in attendance on Wednesday. On Thursday, before he left, the head of the Commission's legal team had made it clear that as long as the summons stood, it was binding and it was not up to him to excuse himself. Nevertheless, Mr. Zuma did excuse himself. His conduct may send a message to all other witnesses who might not be comfortable to come and answer questions in this commission, and that it is the right thing to do for a witness who has been summoned to decide to excuse himself, and that witnesses who have been summoned can come and go as they please before the commission. If that were to happen, this commission would not be able to operate. It is therefore quite important for the proper functioning of this commission that Mr. Zuma's conduct be dealt with in a manner in which our law provides it should be dealt with. This commission is very clear about what should happen arising out of the events of Thursday. And it remains determined to carry out its functions in accordance with the law and the Constitution. Given the seriousness of Mr. Zuma's conduct and the impact that his conduct may have on the work of the Commission, and the need to ensure that we give effect to the constitutional provisions that everyone is equal before the law, I have decided to request the Secretary of the Commission to lay a criminal complaint with the South African Police against Mr. Zuma, so that the police can investigate his conduct, and in this regard, the Secretary would make available to the police all information relevant, as well as make information available to the National Prosecuting Authority. Most of the evidence is available because the proceedings of this commission were live on television, and exactly what happened from the time I began to deliver my ruling up to the time I adjourned the proceedings would be available. Apart from that, the Commission is going to take certain steps. One, I am going to determine other dates when Mr. Zuma must appear before the Commission. Two, the Secretary will issue a summons to be served on Mr. Zuma to appear before this Commission during those dates. Three, that summons will be served on Mr. Zuma. Four, the Secretary of the Commission will make an application to the Constitutional Court on an urgent basis for the Constitutional Court to issue an order that will compel Mr. Zuma to appear before the Commission in accordance with the summons that will be issued. In other words, to comply with the summons. And when he attends the proceedings of the Commission in compliance with the summons, not to leave the proceedings without my permission. The order that will also be sought will include an order compelling Mr. Zuma to comply with directives that I've issued in terms of Regulation 10.6 of the regulations of this Commission, which were promulgated by Mr. Zuma when he was still president, which require him to furnish certain affidavits to the Commission. That is what is going to be done. This Commission is quite clear about the steps that will be taken, and those steps will be taken as a matter of urgency.